Our main story is big YouTube channel, Upper Echelon. Hope this is visible on my share. Upper Echelon. Upper Echelon is a YouTube channel, has 608,000 subscribers. Let me actually refresh this to see how many views he got. Whoops. Free StreamYard advertising. It's got 68,000 views. It's called The Cult of HEX, quote unquote, The Cult of HEX. And he had a article negatively covering HEX, the HEX cryptocurrency. If you haven't seen that video, you could check it out. I don't want to get a copyright strike, so I wrote down the main points, some quotations, just to go over what he was saying and his criticism as a response to his criticism, of HEX as a cryptocurrency, of its legitimacy, and you guys could hear both sides and decide who is right and who is wrong, right? We're all about free speech here. That's all we're about. Okay. Let's go. The first thing he says is HEX is a cult. HEX is a cult. I don't like that because, frankly, it's just words, what he's saying. What matters in cryptocurrency is people buying and not holding. And there's utility, there's game theory, there's community, there's memes. There's many metrics that you could look into that incentivize buying and not holding and cause the token to go up. And there's narratives, there's all those sorts of things. So that's essentially not that's not an intellectually honest argument as to whether or not it is a legitimate cryptocurrency. I think it is cognitive dissonance. He's insulting Hexicans and Richard as people that are in a cult, and as people that are just following Richard because of his charisma and his false promises and all those things. And there are no promises, there's no expectation from the work of others, etc. So this idea that Richard Hart is a cult follower and Hexicans are a cult is, first of all, not true, and it's not an intellectually honest argument. And what really matters is looking at the facts, looking at what makes a cryptocurrency do well, listening to what Richard says, and deciding for yourself. And that's what I did, and that's what all the Hexicans did, and that's why we like Richard Hart. That is why we buy HEX. That is why we talk about HEX. And it is for that reason that HEX is not a cult, because we use our intelligence to discern what is right and what is wrong. And a cult would imply that you are baselessly following somebody because of the gift of gab, because of their charisma and their ability to perpetuate, things that are not true, to manipulate people to doing things they shouldn't be doing or they don't want to be doing. And that is not true at all. Hexicans, I'm saying it's like kind of the opposite of a cult in the sense that everybody calls it a scam. Everyone calls it a rug pull, and its price performance has been incredible. And in order to really succeed, in order to benefit from HEX, the HEX cryptocurrency, you really need to be able to be intellectually honest and tune out the noise and think for yourself. That's really what it comes down to. That is the opposite of a cult, and I don't appreciate cognitive dissonance. I don't appreciate people slandering people baselessly in order to make their points that something is an illegitimate cryptocurrency. I don't think that is an intellectually honest argument, and I don't think that is in good faith. And it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. What matters is buying and holding. What matters is, price performance of a cryptocurrency. And that's it. Don't let people calling you a cult get to you. I think that's very silly, and it's not intellectually honest. Another thing he said is HEX relies on onboarding new users. HEX relies on onboarding new users. So to that, you'd say, so do you not believe in cryptocurrency? Because any asset, any speculative asset, stocks, bonds, real estate, I guess bonds a little bit of an exception because you get payout from the US government when it matures. But essentially, stocks, real estate, and cryptocurrency all rely on either new users or new money coming in, because in order for something to have a price, you have to be able to sell it to somebody. That's essentially what it is. Does it solely rely on new users coming in? No, but just like any other cryptocurrency, there is the need for liquidity. You have to be able to sell something. That is essentially what makes a crypto valuable, and you cannot disaggregate that metric of relying on new users of HEX. You cannot disaggregate it from Ethereum, Bitcoin, Cardano, Monero, or Doge, or Shiba Inu, or any other cryptocurrency. So that is very intellectually unfair. Unless you want to be Peter Schiff and you want to say that crypto is all completely a scam, fine. I get that. You want to say that, you want to invest in gold, fine. I could respect that. But if you are going to cover cryptocurrency favorably, you cannot disaggregate the metric of relying on new users of HEX from any other cryptocurrency. It is not the exception, it is the rule. Okay, that's the answer to that, onboarding new users. Then he says Richard Hart is trying to game the system by not classifying, I think it was HEX and maybe the sacrifice, as an airdrop. That's not gaming the system. That is working within the laws. Unlike other founders that go around raising money from venture capital with cryptocurrencies that essentially have a company behind it and raise money off their they instead of like relying on new users, they rely on basically dumping on their I guess it's new users, whatever, like XRP, whatever. They dump on their community in order to raise money for their operation. So that's their work. It's questionable whether it's a security or not. I don't want to get into whether XRP is a security or not. But he's saying he's trying to game the system. That's not true. It's called having respect for the rule of law. It's having regard for the law. It's doing something within the legal framework. So unlike other cryptocurrencies, he doesn't get in trouble. That's not fair. Every single corporation that does things has lawyers and who have a very broad and profound knowledge of the industry that the corporation, the sector that the corporation is involved in order to navigate the legal system, in order to do things in a legal way. And no founder that I know of has done it better than Richard Hart. Regard for the law. There's no centralized entity. There's no expectation from the work of others. So then he says Richard says there's no expectation of return on HEX. But then he says, but everyone has an expectation of return, right? Right? Everyone has an expectation of return on HEX, and everyone has an expectation of return on the SAC. But there's no problem with having an expectation. When people buy Bitcoin, they have an expectation that it's going to go up in price. But what makes something a security, what makes something illegal, is having expectation of profit solely based on the work of others. There is no expectation of profit based on the work of others. There is none. There is no company behind HEX. There is no overhead. Everything that is done in a grassroots way by community members. Richard Hart has not streamed in months. Nobody relies on his work. The protocol was created, is mutable. It relies on nobody. It is cryptocurrency in the purest sense. Okay. So you can have expectations. Not saying that these expectations of price appreciation would play out, but you're hoping it would. But there is no expectation of return from the work of others. And then when it comes, he said people have expectations of return on the SAC, and essentially the case he brought was that there's a volume bonus multiplier for whales and things like that. So he says from the fact that you're getting a token airdropped or not airdropped, whatever, in your wallet, that is not expectation of return from the work of others. The expectation of return on that you are making a political statement. You are giving away money as a political statement for freedom of speech and freedom of movement. There is no expectation of profit from the work of others. What you are getting is valueless. It's valueless, and its value will be determined by the market, not by Richard Hart, not by me, not by anybody in this community, but what people are willing to pay for it, just like any other cryptocurrency. Again, you cannot disaggregate the need for a value and liquidity and people buying of HEX from the broader crypto market. That's how crypto works. That's how real estate works. That's how stocks works. We got 42 watching. If you're enjoying, please, I work very hard. Please just give me a like, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and put your email down in the link in the description below so I could stay in touch with you. I'd really, really, really appreciate if you put your email in. Not your platform, not your users, like I said. And I'm monetized, so you could send a super chat. Sorry for the shilling in the bear market. No pressure, no pressure. Okay, moving on. Let me just take a sip of this. HEX has no underlying economic activity to generate value. That means nothing. That means nothing. What generates value? People buying and people not selling. You want to say that? Go say that about Bitcoin. Go say that about Ethereum. Go say that about any other cryptocurrency. The underlying economic activity, you could say, is people buying and promising not to sell in return for trustless yield in kind from no third party, but from the blockchain, no middleman. You get to keep your keys, and I'm saying the yield, the idea that a cryptocurrency offers yield, there is product market fit for it. There's a market for it, and the proof of it is pretty much every single company that was offering to, give you a percentage return on your cryptocurrency for depositing it in their wallets, like BlockFi, like Celsius, like Nexo, 2 out of the Voyager, which are pretty much all bankrupt and screwed everybody and put people in, not Nexo yet at least, but put people in a situation where they are at the mercy of really that company. If they're able to get the money back, then good. If not, too bad. And that is a security risk, because they go out and they say, you give us your money, we're going to go out there, we're going to lend it to people, we're going to get you a return. That's profit on the work of others. HEX is trustless inflation. Okay. Next thing he said. So yeah, there's no underlying economic activity. That's a bunch of bogus. Every cryptocurrency's underlying economic activities, more buyers, is people buying and not selling. Same thing with sports memorabilia. Same thing with, collectibles, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, everything. Learn how the world works. Next thing is, quote, if hundreds of millions of dollars were not injected every year, the token would crash. I don't know if the number of hundreds of millions is right or not. Could be right, could be wrong. But you can say the same thing about Bitcoin, and you can say the same thing about any other cryptocurrency. So again, the question you have to ask is this something exclusive to HEX, or is it something that you would say about crypto in general? Are you a Peter Schiff? And if you're a Peter Schiff, fine. But if not, then please do not make HEX the exception to pretty much every other cryptocurrency that relies on, money coming in, and there's also money coming out, but whatever. Then he said, if number of people injecting fresh capital surpasses the amount trying to cash out, the price goes up. But since the amount cashing out exceeds the amount of capital being injected, the price is going down. And I'd say, like, Economics 101. Thank you very much. Should give him the Nobel Prize. We should surpass Richard Hart for the Nobel Prize for creating HEX and give it to Upper Echelon, because he understands what causes something to go up and down in value, what leads to a correction. That is called a correction. Yes, when something goes up in price 10,000x in under 2 years, there's going to come a point where the number of sellers, and it's not the number of sellers, by the way, it's the number of money being cashed out. It's not, he said number of people, it's not the number of people, because, for example, there could be a lot more people buying HEX, but if the number of people selling are selling HEX in a quantity that exceeds the buy orders, which are more numerous in people, then it doesn't matter. The price would go down. But I'm sure that's what he meant. Just, little correction over there. No pun intended, correction. But yes, that's what a correction is. And you see that with every cryptocurrency. Bitcoin has had 90% corrections in the past. Ethereum has had 90% corrections. Cardano has had 90% corrections. When you're an immature asset and you have thin liquidity, Thin liquidity, low liquidity leads to high volatility, right? Low liquidity, high volatility. So an immature asset like HEX, which is in its first cycle, hopefully there will be more, and I believe there will be many more. But obviously, there's no past performance is not indicative of future results. There's no expectation of profits from the work of other. But in its earlier years, there are going to be bigger corrections as the distribution of token goes from people that are, thinking more short term to people thinking more long term. But as Richard Hart says, volatility is the price you pay for the world's fastest appreciating asset. So yeah, that's that. That's the problem. These people, people that are content creators don't understand crypto, and people that understand crypto are not content creators. But that's what Furu Finance is about. We understand crypto, we understand finance, we understand economics, but we also understand cryptocurrency. So we could really bridge that gap, and we could help people like upper echelon really understand how cryptocurrency works and how it gets its price and its value. So no hate to him. He's gotten some nice videos. I think you have to be empathetic. People that originally hear about HEX, they don't understand it. There is reason to think from seeing it originally that it is, a scam and things like that. That's why you got to really think for yourself. And that's what we do here at HEX. We think for ourselves, right? We're not a cult. We think for ourselves. So he says inflow of new users will fall below threshold and system will collapse. That's not true. It has to be for a prolonged period of time. I'm saying there's corrections where it falls below the threshold, whatever. Then he said Richard Hart is in control of 3/4 of the supply because the top 500 wallets are connected to the origin address. And then he said it's suspicious of 90% of the supply. And for that, I actually wanted to share something. First of all, we don't know if it's Richard. It's the origin address. People allege that it's Richard, and that's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. But let's just, what do we have here? Yeah, this is by Cassius Bridges, who's responding to Jo. So give Cassius Bridges a follow. This is a very important point. At Bridges Cassius, this is a very important point because people, again, they disaggregate things that are applicable to HEX from other cryptocurrencies that appreciate fast, where there is no reason to do that. I mean, it's the rule, not the exception. But let's just go from to OMG Network. Top 100 holders own 68.75%. EOS, top 100 holders own 75%. Basic Attention Token, top 100 holders collectively own 75%. Theta, top 100 holders own 77.8%. Yearn Finance, top 100 holders own 79%. Then there's Token Republic. Let's just skip blah, blah, blah. Let's go to the top. And then you have Decentraland, Mana, right? Everyone talks about that. Top 100 holders own 87%. Then there's Ampleforth. Uniswap's a great protocol, but the top 100 holders collectively own 94.07%. VeChain, top 100 holders own 94%. BNB token, top 100 holders own 95.5%. Then you have Compound, top 100 holders own 98.78%. That's insane. Crypto.com, top 100 holders own 99.76%. And then you have Bitfinex Leo token, top 100 holders own 99.94. So a lot of big names. BNB, VeChain, Uniswap, they have very centralized ownership. And centralized ownership in the event that it's not a scam, right? In the event where, there's founder benevolency and things like that, centralized ownership is a very, very good thing. And what's the reason for that? There's centralized ownership in, stocks, maybe not to that extent, but centralized ownership is ubiquitous in well-performing financial assets. Why? Why is that? Because people that hold large bags are generally already rich, because either they started the company, they started the protocol, or they bought and held and they never got shaken out. And if you buy and hold and you never get shaken out, right? Then that is indicative that your needs are already fulfilled. You already are wealthy, likely, because if you are not wealthy and the price goes up 10x, 20x, 50x, 100x, there's going to come a point where you're going to panic sell, especially if there's like a 40% correction off your 100x and you're not sure if this asset's ever going to come back. You're probably going to get shaken out. And people that understand better and things like that are going to buy it. And people that have a lot of money are going to buy it. And essentially, it always goes to some sort of centralized ownership of people that are very rich, controlling a significant piece of the pie. And what's good about that is that people that are very rich already have the things that they need. People that are already rich already own the clothing they want. They own the cars that they desire, they get the women they desire, they get the jewelry they desire, they get the real estate they desire, they get the stocks and bonds that they desire that generate income. There's not much to sell for. There's not much to sell for. And they often never sell. Like Warren Buffett never sells his Berkshire Hathaway shares. And the reason for that is, what is it to sell for? So generally, it is a very good when there's centralized ownership. When there's a decentralized ownership, when there's a fair distribution, either the price is just going to get wrecked so hard that it'll never come back, or it'll suffer some serious corrections of plebs like myself, cashing out on the 100x's. That's the mistake that Jack Levin made with Zen. Essentially, the mistake that Jack Levin made with Zen is he wanted a system that was focused on fair distribution. Well, first of all, gave it out for free. That was a problem. But fair distribution is not good for price appreciation. It's not good for price appreciation. So, provided that the origin address remains benevolent, and obviously we have no expectation from profit from the work of others, and he, she, whatever, them might sell and might crash the price. We don't know, but provided that they remain benevolent, the price appreciation will continue to be considerable, in my opinion, not financial advice. And the same thing really is what applies to any other crypto and any other stock. I think Zuckerberg owns like 20% of the shares outstanding of Facebook. He could crash the price. He doesn't do that. That's what I said. So that's just a lack of really understanding of how the system works. So that's what I'd say about that. So not saying Richard owns 90% of the tokens, whatever. A lot of it's associated with the origin address. Could be other people. These daughter addresses could not. But centralized ownership is not the exception in other cryptocurrencies. It is the rule. It is what's good for price appreciation. Same thing happened with Bitcoin in the beginning. In the early days, ownership was very centralized with Satoshi Nakamoto. He didn't sell, and that's why we have the prices that we have today. And the centralized ownership will come down because, provided the origin address remains mostly liquid, all the inflation is going to people like me, whatever, like other holders and stakers that are not the origin address. So, we have no expectations profit from the work of others, but it has been working out well, considering I'm saying but yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's no expectation to profit from the work of others, but this, unfair distribution ultimately benefits everybody because the plebs don't wreck the price and everyone gets exposure to the multiples of to the price appreciation of the fastest growing asset. That's what I'd say. Another thing is that, like I said earlier, the price appreciation shakes people out who are plebs. What's awesome about HEX is that if you time lock, you will not get shaken out, likely, unless you emergency end stake and you time lock on your own will. And that really gives you the ability to withstand the volatility and to benefit from the multiples in the future, that I'm hoping for. No expectation from the work of others, obviously, but I'm saying, unlike other cryptocurrencies where you get shaken out, HEX gives you the ability to time lock and make commitments. So that's what I'd say about that. That's a great thing. It's a great thing for the price. It's a great thing for the people who stake. Moving on. Upper Echelon says, Richard Hart has public animosity towards Bitcoin because unknown addresses control a great deal of supply. That was years ago, and I'm pretty sure he was trying to make the point that, you can't disaggregate Bitcoin from HEX. Well, unknown addresses own the supply. Whatever, who cares? Richard, okay, this is the silliest thing. So this is his proof. This is the proof that that Hex is a cult, because Richard said he got people to stop smoking, gambling, drinking, playing video games. He's a self-help author. He saved lives and he raised 27 million for charity. And he said, because of that, I'm a god. So Hex is a cult because Richard said he's a god. First of all, every rapper says they're a god. And he's making it to to really imply, he's really trying to imply that like we actually think he's a god. We actually think that's what he means by that. Obviously, we are not stupid, and we know that Richard Hart is a man of flesh and blood and a man who is mortal. That's why he's working on longevity. He's trying to work on that. But we obviously know that that he's not a god, and that's again an argument that's not in good faith. And upper echelon, really, you got to start being more in good faith. You really have to start, educating yourself on cryptocurrency and what makes something valuable, and not trying to slander Hexkins as a cult because Richard says he's a god and everyone thinks he's a god. Obviously, we're not stupid. We all know he's not a god. Okay, just speak highly of him because he tells the truth. Okay. Then he said followers travel the country to onboard. People who were onboarded are down massively. So followers travel. That same thing happened with Bitcoin with Roger Ver. That's why he's called Bitcoin Jesus, because he traveled all over the country and the world to spread the word of Bitcoin, to try and get people to adopt Bitcoin. Yes, Hexicans are a little bit more, flagrant, saying that they want to pump the price, whatever. Essentially, that's what everyone's doing. Adoption leads to price appreciation. So that's really not fair, unless, again, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he's not a blanket, he's not like, he doesn't have like a blanket criticism of crypto in general. I think he's singling out Hex, which is not fair. But that's not a fair allegation. That's what happens in every cryptocurrency. There are people that are on the internet that are that talk about it, that spread the word. There are people that travel and tell people about it. They onboard. That's how it works. That is, again, you cannot disaggregate Hex from Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything else. We got 54 watching. Please go click on the description, click the link to my email list, and just put your email in. I'd really, really, really appreciate it. It's private. Nobody else on the list sees your email address. Your data is not getting sold. Just to stay in touch with you, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, and feel free to send a super chat. We got 52 watching, and I really appreciate it. Just wanted to say that. So then he said that everyone's down massively. Correction, again, volatility is the price you pay for the world's fastest appreciating asset. Everyone in crypto is subject to the volatility. Hex is not the exception. Triple the Mogul says email list. So true. Email list. Thanks, Triple the Mogul. Yeah, please put your email list in the description below. Really appreciate it. And please like and subscribe. But so that's not fair. New onboards. Wait for price to go up and sell to the greater, he didn't say greater fool, but sell to the next person. That's not true. I have stakes that are staked for 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10 years. Like, price goes up, I'm not selling. Some of it I might be selling. Taking profits never hurt anybody. Again, you cannot disaggregate. Essentially, the difference between Hex and other cryptos is that when Hex goes down 90%, people that stake are not subject to selling the bottom and waiting for the top and just getting screwed over and over again. They actually get to benefit from future price appreciation, provided the community remains intact and it has product market fit. Everyone else, people in Bitcoin, bought the top, they sell the bottom, buy the top, sell the bottom. Hex cuts out that bad tendency that us humans have. That's really a feature. That's not a bug. It's not true. They're not waiting for people, bro. They're waiting for their stakes to appreciate, and there's nothing wrong with taking profits. That's cryptocurrency. Cannot disaggregate it from broader cryptocurrency markets. Then he said, people are forced to stay in the cult because they lock up. They're not forced. They know they know how the time locking works. First of all, you could emergency end stake if your stake is halfway done and your principal doesn't even get touched. You get the full principal back. And second, everybody knows the rules when they do it, and they're doing it because it's good for them. It's good for the price. And it also prevents trading, which is bad for everybody. It's like a everybody wins kind of situation, provided you time lock. In my opinion, not financial advice, and obviously past appreciation is not indicative of future results. stupid argument. I'm sorry. We got to be more optical. He's a good dude. He has some good videos. Like, he's just misunderstood. Hex is a new technology, and just like Bitcoin in its early days, when people were saying it's a scam, it's a cult, it's a rug pull, it's misunderstood. Telephone, misunderstood. Automobile, misunderstood. Hex cryptocurrency, in my opinion, misunderstood. Misunderstood. Then he goes into allegations of using a fake name. Everybody knows he used the name Schuler. It's not a secret. He was sued for online spam. He was sued for $500 or something in a small claims court, and he didn't want to pay a lawyer or fly to DC. He talks about that. He talks about brought up the Panama incident. The Panama incident is again, he talks about that openly in one of his interviews. I forget what it was. It was on. He was the person that got messed over. Like, he was the person that got messed over. So I mean, that was ridiculous. Then he talks about, like, all these things that he's saying, like, oh, we got you. It's like he talks about these openly, and most of, like, these articles and allegations are misconstrued. They're not really true. Anyways, we got 58 watching. Please hit the like and subscribe. And if you're enjoying, you could send a super chat, or you could follow me on Twitter, or you could put your name in the email list, or you could donate, whatever you want. Appreciate you guys watching, but please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. And then he said the money from the SAC address was used to drive the price up. Maybe, maybe not. And who's BNB literally, takes money from trading fees and uses it to pump the bags of the Binance token openly with people's expectations, essentially. I mean, maybe technically not, but whatever. I'm saying, like, he's allowed to do whatever he wants with the money he got from the sacrifices. He is allowed to do whatever he wants with, any money that he's gotten from any business. That's really what it comes down to. So I don't appreciate that. I don't think, again, Hex is the exception, and there's no expectations of him to buy at the price. There's no expectations from the work of others, right? That's really the important thing. And the proof is that, Richard doesn't want to stream. We don't expect him to stream. That's why I'm streaming. You guys can't have Richard. You're stuck with me. Yeah, we got 58 watching. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Please put your email in the email list. And that's really what my take on it. I think there's a misunderstanding. I think hexagons are a little bit more intellectually honest than other cryptocurrencies, other, leaders of communities like Saylor, who, the way he speaks, you would think that Bitcoin could cure cancer or whatever. He obviously never said that. He's never said that, but, like, just silly things. Ultimately, all that matters is people buying and not selling, and people in a token that has the best community, that has programmed into it, incentive to buy and not sell. I would generally think that it would be very successful, but we have no expectations of profit from the work of others, right? But yeah, that's that. You guys could check out the video. He's a nice guy. He's a very smart guy. I don't think it helps anyone to really rip on him. I think he's like most people that, don't really understand how cryptocurrency works, how the stock market works to the full extent. And he probably means well. Another thing I'd show, which was interesting, was you look at his videos. He talks about FTX 3 weeks ago, and he talks about Celsius a month ago, right? What does that mean? And I didn't do it like a deep dive, but I cannot find any, like, negative content about FTX and Celsius before they filed for bankruptcy or before they were declared insolvent. So essentially, what does that mean? That means that that he is behind the curve, and I don't expect him to be ahead of it. I don't expect him to be ahead of the curve because, crypto is not his forte. But who was talking about FTX, and getting your money off centralized exchanges? And who was talking about people should pull their money from Celsius and BlockFi before it happened and actually led to me pulling my money from FTX, from not FTX, but from Celsius, it was Richard Hart. Richard Hart is ahead of the curve in the same way that this guy, what's his name? The same way Upper Echelon is behind the curve with FTX and is behind the curve with BlockFi and Celsius and only reporting on it once it happens. He is, and Richard Hart was ahead of the curve. The same way that he was behind the curve there then with FTX and Celsius, in my opinion, he's going to be behind the curve with HEX. He is going to come to the conclusion that HEX is not a scam. It's not a cult. It is a legitimate cryptocurrency. It's not a security. He is going to come to that conclusion when the herd, like Ben Dubar says, that when the herd comes to that conclusion. And I see no reason to see otherwise. Richard Hart is ahead with BlockFi, with Celsius. He was ahead with Bitcoin, getting it on in 2011. And he created HEX cryptocurrency, and he's ahead of the curve in this case. I don't see it to be any difference. The same way this guy, I keep forgetting his name. The same way that, what's his name? Same way Upper Echelon is behind the curve with Celsius and FTX, he will be behind the curve in HEX, and hopefully he will realize he was wrong and he will come around, and maybe he could even become a Hexkin. He's always invited on this stream. We love Upper Echelon. He does a lot of great work. Very well done. I could appreciate as a content creator, like the work that he puts in for his videos, and I could definitely say nice things about that. It would be great to have him, as a Hexkin, but who knows? We have no expectations of profit from the work of others. But yeah, that was, and then I just wanted to share a little bit of a response to that. Where was it? Yeah, there we go. There was Richard Hart saying businesses are Ponzi schemes. They constantly need new money in or they collapse. This is how stupid #NoCoiners sound. Completely agree. The new money coming in it's the rule. It's not the exception. Yeah. Then David James, go follow at David James 1, says life is a Ponzi. If we don't recruit more humans to procreate, we can't vanish. So true. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And people can't forget that the economic paradigm is one where money's not scarce and it has to go somewhere. And that's why Mark McGwire's home run that broke Roger Maris's record for home runs in a single season sold for 1.2 million. People bought it. People wanted to buy it. That's really what it comes down to. And money's not scarce. So things, especially with low liquidity, could go very, very high in price very, very fast, especially immature assets which have low liquidity. But that's my take on that. You could go check out the video. Check out the video by Upper Echelon. I'll link it in the description to either this live stream or the clip. Shout out to him. Don't mean to be insulting. Sorry if I came across as a little harsh, but that's my response. I hope this helped. I hope this maybe shed some light into why we think highly of Richard Hart and why we like HEX. But we got 51 watching. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and drop your email in the description below. I appreciate it. And I believe I'll be going on Crypto Coffee at 12 p.m. today, Eastern time. So let's get into your chats. Let's see what you guys are saying. Should maybe go into the chats like during the show, but I don't know. To like mess up my train of thought.